gentlemen. Welcome to another episode, All Rell and Good, here on the Crawford Podcasting Network. My good friend, Richard Rellford, the former two-time Big Ten champion, 4-year starter for the Wolverines, Duncan Machine for the two-time champion Wolverines. And Rich, we haven't been on for a couple weeks. We've been waiting to figure out what's going to happen on this basketball team and figure out who the coach was going to be and what Juwan Howard, after that, 8-24, what was going to happen with Juwan. We both liked Juwan, but I think everybody had a clear mind that probably a new direction was needed to be played on, and that's exactly what happened. So I'm just going to get right to the point. What are your thoughts on Dusty May? I know you've been on the phones with a lot of your Florida guys, and you got well connected, obviously, with the Michigan basketball family as a former player. But what are your thoughts overall?
Well, in Florida, they're sad that they're going to lose Dusty. But I tell everybody, coaches want to advance just like players want to go to the NBA and to go
Sure.
to college. I have no problem with that. I heard from some reliable friends that he's a really good guy. He's not just a good coach, but he's a good guy, and that's what I was hoping for. I'm gonna miss Juwan. Me and Juwan had a personal relationship. I'm happy now that, from what I've heard, that he's going to be special assistant to the Orlando Magic's, working with their big guys. So you can't keep him down. I
No.
just wanted him to get some rest because after open heart surgery, man,
Oh yeah.
I think you should take a break. But we players, man, we athletes. We just people tell us to rest. We don't rest. We keep it going.
No,
And
you don't.
so listen. Uh, I think our future is bright with Dusty, and like you said earlier, I think Coach Beeline had a lot to do with it. A lot of us old players were thinking that B would come back and coach, but we forgot that Coach B is 70 something years old, and if we got Coach B, it'll be for a couple of years, and we'll be on the search again. So that's one of the reasons that I'm happy that we have Dusty.
Yeah, well, it was and I appreciated how Ward Manuel opened the conference, thanking Juwan Howard. I mean, and it was sincere about what Juwan had done in the last 5 years. But it's Dusty May is the overused term is a good fit. Like we use that
Yeah,
term a
yeah.
million times at the presser yesterday, but it's true. And this is I call him a self-made college basketball coach. I mean, he was a student manager at Indiana when Bob Knight was there. Can you imagine being the student manager for Bob Knight? Okay, tell me you wouldn't have had, have some thick skin to be around that. And then he got the bug for being a college basketball coach, worked summer camps, had a variety of assistantships, including Eastern Michigan, where one of his sons was born when he was at EMU. And then think about what he did at FAU. 6 straight winning seasons, Rich, that Dusty had at FAU. And that was, when that program first started with him, they were playing in the size of a, Riviera Beach, Florida high school gym. I mean, it was
Yeah.
not, and now they got a bigger arena. And, they went to the Final Four. They won 35 games last year. They won 25 games this year. And it's just, 47 years old. Yeah, everybody wins the press conference, but it went beyond that. The reaction that former players have talked about. I talked to T Mills last night. He's thrilled about it. I will say this: what T said. Yeah, he's going to make some. That Lisa needs to be hired on. Lisa, your go-to. Who? That's all the players talk about. Lisa, administrative assistant. That's a hire that T Mills recommended. I'm sure you double down on that.
Well, I'm gonna double down on it, and the reason I say about Lisa, Lisa knows everybody and everything that's going on in that university. And you're a new guy. I'm keeping Lisa. If I'm a coach, if I'm any coach, just like everyone who's kept her from Coach B, Coach Howard, they're gonna keep her because not only is she a good person, she's a good person to have on your staff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's like I really think with you basketball alumni that this is a critical time that you're all on the same page. I felt, talking to a variety of different of eras of former players as I have, there's the Beeline guys, there's the Juwan. I mean, there was somewhat of a rift starting to build in. I don't know if you were feeling it, but I think
Mhm.
that and I think Beeline or he was able to unify the basketball alumni. And I think Dusty will, because Dusty he's a Big Ten guy. He was born in Indiana, grew up in Peoria, Illinois. He's got that work ethic. He knows Big Ten basketball. He knows how much it means to the Big Ten universities, and he knows how big the Block M is. He must have said that 5 or 6 times, referencing the Block M. So, and he likes fast pace. He said he promised entertaining basketball. I mean, everybody wants winning basketball. It's an
Exactly.
up-tempo game with 3-point shots as part of the equation. 3 counts more than 2,
Yes.
and I think we're going to like it.
Well, I think once people get to meet him, I heard you ask some questions on at the press conference, and I thought they were great about him wanting to become a head coach and how
Yeah,
he started off being a manager and then he switched, to a grad assistant. Listen, this guy knows Big Ten basketball.
yeah,
That's what I wanted. I wanted someone in who knew Big Ten basketball, just like Jawan, just like Coach B, because I explain to people, Big Ten basketball is different, man, from ACC, SEC, Big East. We're different. Just an example. I'm watching Iowa play the other night against, I can't remember who the team was in the NCAA, Caitlin, the girls.
oh
And
yeah,
they were being really physical with her. And I said to one of my friends, that ain't nothing to her. She playing the Big Ten. She
yeah,
she welcomes this physicalness. So you can be physical if you want with Big Ten schools. We ain't got no problem with it.
yeah. It was West Virginia. That was a tough
Yes.
game the other
Yeah.
night. Now they're moving on. So, and it's the same thing with men. Big Ten basketball is tough. There's still 2 teams remaining in the NC2A. Illinois and Purdue. I'm not sure how long. Illinois is that's my team. That I enjoy watching Illinois more. Terrence Shannon Jr. He's kind of my kind of guy, my kind of
Mhm.
player. He's like a Rellford kind of guy. He
I,
moves
I
up and down the court, does the power jams, and uses all 94 feet. And it's gonna. They got a tough go against Iowa State, though. That Iowa State team's good,
but I
and
picked Illinois to go to the Final Four.
you do.
I got them. Yeah, I do.
All
I have them in
right,
my bracket. Going
all
to,
right.
because I like the way their team is set up. I like that everybody can handle the ball on that team, from the point guard to the center. They all can handle the ball, and that makes a big difference in the tournament because I'm watching games the other day, and I'm just thinking that the teams that are winning, everybody can put the ball on the floor. Tennessee they're tough. I think Tennessee they're going to be beasts. Now, I did make a mistake in my bracket. I didn't. I had Izzo and them losing the second game, and my boys told me, you don't go against Izzo. And I said to him, you know what? That was my mistake. Because come tournament time, Izzo is a beast. Izzo knows this tournament stuff.
Yeah, but but they you did pick. He lost in the second round in North Carolina.
Yep, he
Yeah,
did. He did.
yeah. But with Michigan State, it's weird. That game against Carolina was a microcosm of the season.
Yes.
There were moments that they looked like, good Lord, these guys could compete with UConn.
Yes. Yes, they
In
did.
certain moments, and then they looked abysmal. That's a weird team. Now I hope Michigan's team. They don't have any players, but I'm hoping for a more consistent product in the Wolverines. But so what if you were to? You don't necessarily name names,
Mhm.
but if you were Dusty May, what are the kind of players that you want on your team? And skill wise, what's the biggest priority for Richard Ralph?
Athletes. I want
Okay,
athletes. I want guys who can run up and down that floor, jump, dunk, shoot, dribble. I mean, not just one guy. I want all 5 of my guys to put it on the floor because I think about Big Ten basketball and the teams that win and what I've been seeing, like we talked about earlier with Illinois. Nobody's even talking about Purdue. Purdue has one of the best players in the country. And everybody said, well, everybody has to play around him. Well, you know what? They're playing. And I want guys. I want a big guy that we can surround with shooters and rebounders. And I promise you, we'll go far in the Big Ten.
At the press conference yesterday, there was a great turnout. A lot of coaches from other sports, and including Sharon Moore was there, which I thought was cool. And and then they had the Maze Rage. A lot of those student, of the Maze Rage were there in the back, and they did the team pictures, or they had the group picture with with Coach Dusty, and everything was cool and everything. But I'm thinking, if you win, they'll show up. I mean, you'll get those fans showing up. And I was curious to know, because you came in at an interesting time, Rich, right off that one of Michigan's worst seasons.
Yes.
Was the year before, when you were senior in high school, and it was Frieder's second year. They went like 7-20. And Thad Garner, the only reason people come to show up at Chrysler was to see, Thad Garner get a breakaway dunk, because he was such a
Yes, he was.
like you. He's a high wire act. Okay.
Yep.
So that season ends. So you come in as a freshman, and I think you went 15-13 that first year.
Yes.
Okay. So, but you had to start over. I mean, you actually, your freshman year, this is interesting how this is playing out. It's going to be very similar to what these guys are going to go through, because you're like starting over off a horrible year. I mean, so what was your fan base like your freshman year, and did it obviously built up right from that point
Yes,
forward?
because my freshman year, our maize and blue game that we have, with the scene with the team, we didn't have many people in the gym. Uh, but after my going into my freshman year, but I got to say this though, at the end, towards the end of my freshman year, we started getting students coming to the games,
Really?
and the gym was, because we had young guys and everybody knew our potential, and we were recruiting Antoine Jobert. And so I
Yeah.
always felt that you have to get some local guys. He has to get Dusty has to get guys from Detroit that can play, because you get Detroit guys, then your fan base gonna widen out a little bit, because now you're gonna go just like with football. If you don't have in-state guys, and like I said, I'm a Florida guy, so if you have in-state guys, because we had Rocky Moore, we had Rob Henderson, we had Antoine, so we had a bunch of Michigan guys that were from the state of Michigan, and I think what that helps is not only your camaraderie, but I felt like guys from Detroit has a certain kind of toughness, and I like that on our team, because guys from Detroit, just like guys from Florida and Boston, we talk a bunch of smack, and we ain't backing down.
Well, another guy, if you think back, so after your I'm trying to think how this played out. Actually, Eric Turner, when did he come in? After, was he before you?
No, no, no. He was before me. Eric Turner is one of the reasons I went to Michigan,
Okay.
because Eric was a McDonald's All American, and he was. I saw videos and film, and Eric Turner was an amazing player for Michigan. His my freshman year, his junior year, Eric played really well, and so everybody thought afterwards that he was going to go hardship and go to the NBA. We knew that he would go, because he was that good. Him
Okay.
and Sam Vincent.
Yeah. So Sam and Eric, they played in high school against each other. So actually, they came in. I'm sorry, Eric, if I'm not mistaken, he would have been. He came. His last year was 81. So he was like a year, but he was a year ahead of you. He was
Right,
a
he's
year.
a year ahead of me.
He was there when
Right,
you arrived. Okay, and
right,
so
he
you
was
had
there.
him. So that's a Michigan guy. And then after your sophomore year, after you won the NIT, you got this commitment from this kid in Canton, Ohio, Gary
Gary
Grant.
Grant.
So it's like Michigan fans, and I'm speaking from that perspective. Uh, we're having something to look forward to from a recruiting standpoint.
Yes.
And that was after the the original Fab Five, which I call
Mhm.
you guys and
Right.
Paul Jokic. So four of you and then Paul Jokic, the basketball player turned back into just football player from Brother Rice. Um, there was always the recruiting, there was solid recruiting in state, and that was Bill Frieder. And it's funny, because I was thinking of Bill Frieder, your old coach, yesterday. He doesn't physically look like Dusty May, but he's kind of like Dusty May is kind of Friederish when you think about
Right.
it, because he's a basketball junkie. He didn't play in college basketball. Bill Frieder played in high school, and he was a student at Michigan. But don't you think there's some similarities there?
Yes, I do. I really do. I think once I started reading Dusty's story, I
Yeah,
thought about Frieder and
yeah,
how Frieder came in as the coach and how he started everything. And that's exactly where Dusty is at right now. Dusty is in the same position that Frieder was in. And I think that with Dusty though, Dusty was at another school. Frieder's always been at Michigan. And
yeah.
so he
True.
kind of, got, he got a lot of things from the coaches that were there before him. And with May, I think May is going on tradition. I hope he goes on tradition and you start recruiting the guys that because, you know, if you can get you a couple McDonald's All Americans, I don't care what anybody said, it helps. It
Yeah,
helps.
there's a sweet blend. Because we saw, in contrast, John Calipari, McDonald's All Americans, losing to a bunch of old guys, including a guy that scored 32 points. It looked like he'd been building decks all summer long.
Right. So,
And yeah, you had that story. So you have all these different pathways to success or lack of success in Kentucky's
right.
case. Where they they haven't gotten out of the first weekend, like 5 years. You got all these players and you have this constant turnover. You
Mhm.
have to have this sweet spot blend
Yes.
of talent. Yeah,
Yeah.
you need the freshman incoming, but you got that transfer portal is huge. You have to have that, and then uh, it was pretty much you could connect the dots that Dusty May had and the committee, the search committee, and i.e. Ward Manuel. There's this understanding that the NIL is going to be a much more aggressive entity at Michigan. It sounded like, and which is critical. It costs you. You have these players are being enticed with big money, and you just can't expect them to come in the love of the maize and blue and the block M, right?
Listen, the NIL makes the difference. You lost Hunter Dickerson because of NIL. I
Yeah,
was reading today, Tom, I got to tell you, uh, the NIL is great, but they have to cap it. I saw where the two highest NIL earners are LeBron James' son at $4.7 million. The next one is Shadur Sanders at $4.2.7 million. And this is crazy.
well, those
Okay,
are
this is
close to
absolutely
some, but those are, yeah, I understand. And then there's some that are lower, and then there's some that you really don't. Some of them are unsubstantiated numbers. Some are substantiated numbers. But the reality is, you have to do whatever you have to have that in place to some extent to show commitment that these are the new guidelines of intercollegiate athletics, and you have to be open minded to that players are gonna. This TV money is crazy. It's crazy
listen.
to this. And this is what it comes down to. This is not only the NCAA basketball tournament, which is a huge moneymaker, but now the new 12-team playoff, the eventual the 14-team playoff in college football, from a TV revenue standpoint, is just mind-boggling how much money is going to be coming in, and the schools are going to access, and it's just normal that student athletes who are actually performing the sport for everybody, the entertainers, that they get a piece of the pie, a sliver of it, or whatever. And so this is all understandable. I just felt there was a good vibe in Dusty's response to the question that the NIL money is going to be there, and they'll make it happen. Michigan is a huge brand. You get some momentum back in this sport. You know what that's like. I keep thinking of that Indiana game, your last game I was at Chrysler Arena for your senior day, when you had that dunk that we've shared a couple of times off that break, And that Christ Arena that day was as loud as I've ever heard of it, even up
Yes.
till now. And there's been
Yes.
some great moments at Christ Arena. So
Yes.
if you bring a product like you guys did, entertaining, 94-foot team that goes up and down, great defense, solid fundamentals, a lot of team unity, that's huge. Your fans will show up.
Listen, you said it. The key word is if you win, the fans will come.
Yeah,
I truly believe in Bo's saying, if you come to Michigan, you will become champions. That's
yeah,
just what it is.
yeah,
You know what? Because I feel the facilities at Michigan are amazing. So it's not about competing with someone else about facilities and what we have and what they have. We're gonna always have top of the line. I
yeah,
told you once I saw that lacrosse practice field and then the lacrosse stadium, I was
yeah,
done. I was like, this is crazy. But this is college sports now.
yeah,
This is college sports, and our facilities. I put our facilities at Michigan up against any school in the country.
yeah. And they're actually the basketball locker room is going to get upgraded, from my understanding.
Yes, I
Yeah,
heard.
because Michigan State's is a little bit better. So
You
hey,
know, we got to upgrade ours as Michigan State did.
yeah, got to keep up. Hey, I mean, it's just reality. I mean, that's the expectation on those tours. But despite this 8-win season with my buddies, and you were sat there in the KB suite with us a few times, that we just love coming to Chrysler Arena. I don't know
But
what it
see,
is. It's the lighting. It's the comfort. It's ease. It's not overwhelmingly big. It's not too small. It's perfect. And it
listen,
means a lot because it's a house that Cassie built. The house that
it's
Cassie built. That's amazing.
it's perfect, and I
Yeah.
love being in that arena. And you know what? Every time I'm in there, I think about Cassie,
Yeah.
and I think about my relationship with Cassie and
Yeah.
how I became an NBA basketball player partially because of Cassie Russell and how
Yeah.
he pushed me and how he encouraged me and how he showed me things that I could do to get into the NBA. And
Yeah.
listen, every college kid who comes to play college basketball have dreams and aspirations of going to the NBA
Yeah.
because I feel like you're gonna get your education. That's automatic because you can't go to school without education.
Yeah.
And so my thing is listen, you want to go to the NBA, listen, University of Michigan got a bunch of NBA players that's come
Yeah.
out of there.
They
And
do.
so, and not only are we NBA players, we get great educations up at the University of Michigan.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, Rich, we're going to be on here the next few weeks. We're not going to end this for I mean, for we got so much fun stuff ahead of us. Just think about
Oh,
this
sure.
Dusty May era with the All Rell and Good podcast, where we're going to have some fun times. And I think the players are going to be more unified. The alumni are coming back from what I heard yesterday. And so, like next week and the week after, we got Sean Higgins is going to come on, and Terry Mills is going to come on, and maybe we'll get some other guests for the next few weeks as Dusty formulates his
Yes.
roster. So we have something actually to react to
Okay.
and try to foreshadow what this team's going to be like. And it's still going to be hard but I'm telling you what, I think it's going to be, I'm just going on a limb here. I think it's going to be a really good hire. And as a basketball alumnus, I think you're going to be happy when you meet this guy. He's a good dude, man. He really
Well,
is.
I look forward to meeting him. Everybody in Florida has nothing but great things to say about him. And
Yeah,
like I said, I look forward because, listen, my blood is maize and blue.
it is, man. There's no doubt about it. Okay, Rich, Nick, until next time, go blue. And hey, onward to a winning basketball program.
There you go, Tom. Go blue,
You got it.
baby.
Take care.